Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is set process goals instead of outcome goals. Successful people with a growth mindset focus on the process instead of the outcome. An example of an outcome goal would be, I want to lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks. Instead, give yourself some daily process goals that will contribute to losing weight. A process goal would be, I will exercise for 30 minutes a day. In your real estate investment business, a goal may be to get more properties to flip. Instead of saying, I will flip 12 properties this year, say, I will evaluate 10 properties and submit one offer a week. By shifting to processes, we can consciously choose a path in which hard work, effort, and persistence will be the key to success. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us RAIN member and one of my favorite humans, Lionel Finley. So welcome to the show, Lionel Finley.
Thank you.
Yay! I asked you to come on the show today, and it's a little different. This is a past project of yours, but this is a wholesale deal. And this one was nuts. So I can't wait for you to share it so that we can learn from it. But first of all, for people that don't know the great Lionel Finley, tell us something about you.
So as Jen said, my name is Lionel. That's by birth. Haven't changed it. But I've been in real estate now since 2005. I was still in the military. I wanted to start investing. And I started part-time. I started picking up some rental properties. And of course, I purchased them incorrectly and the wrong way and didn't know basically what the heck I was doing when I did that. But I got the military in 2008, and then I did corporate government for a while, and decided, I'm going to do this full-time. And so I've been doing it ever since. I've coached for a couple national companies and done some speaking. But for the most part, I've just been doing this business for a while, wholesaling, rehabbing, I call them VAs, my value adds. Some passive income, I'm getting ready to actually start to pick that up. So just a lot of different things, but trying to focus on one or two and just perfect it.
Well, I'm sure you know this, but we follow the Lionel Finley method in life. We started doing the flips and doing everything like that. And then Vance got his real estate license and you were his BIC, his broker in charge. And then from there, because you have the Finley agency, we ended up making up our own. We have the Acorn agency, and you also have your general contractor's license, which also inspired Vance to get his general contractor's license. So we hope to someday be as successful as Lionel Finley because we are trying to do everything that you do. So thank you for your service, by the way. You are an awesome human being, and let's jump into it. So you had this wholesale deal. When did you start working on this deal?
So that deal, I don't remember the year because I can't go back that far, but I can remember that I started this deal 12 months from the day I actually closed it.
12 months.
Yes, it was a very, very long process.
Okay, and so I'm going to share with the listeners, this was a wholesale deal, but normally when you explain what the wholesale process is for those that don't know.
Yeah, so essentially, instead of flipping a house, I'm flipping paper is all I'm doing. So I got a contract, under contract, and then, well, someone else or whomever. But basically have a contract, and then I will find a end buyer or developer, and then I will flip that paper or wholesale it to them. As I always do, is just for a fee. And that's essentially what it is. I'm getting a wholesale fee.
And normally, how long does it take to wholesale something?
Oh man, I can normally, if a seller calls me and I get on the contract, I can get a buyer and I can wholesale it probably in less than 30 days, but typically 2 weeks.
Because what you're doing is you have a property under contract and it says that, Lionel Finley, the name of your company, is buying it or assigned. And so then from there, you find someone to assign that contract to. And normally when you get something under contract, it's typically 30, maybe 45 days to close. So you have that much time to find someone to assign that contract to. So this case, you've already told us, took 12 months to the day. So what in the world? Tell us about this crazy wholesale deal.
Gotcha. So I don't do any marketing. So what happens is that I have wholesalers that are either new or have been doing this for a while, and they hate speaking with sellers. They hate negotiating. They hate doing all that stuff. So I had a gentleman that brought this deal to me, and he said, "Hey, I got this deal, and it's downtown Raleigh." And I'm like, "Oh goodness, yes, downtown Raleigh." So initially I thought of doing it myself because I do develop properties, but then I thought about it. I was like, I'd rather get the quick money, at least so I thought. So I was like, hey, let me find an end buyer. So I found a developer, and then we started the process. But the problem was that we had 23 heirs on the property.
Heirs. So,
Heirs, right.
By the way, it's spelled HEIRS, correct?
Not AIR. That's right.
HIER.
One of those. I was something. I don't know.
Because it was so funny because I was in a meeting one time and some young lady was saying hairs. I'm like, no, it's heirs.
Yeah.
So explain what an heir is.
Yeah. So an heir in this situation, well, pretty much all situations are property that has either been was not willed, and a lot of times these folks don't know that they're actually going to benefit from the property. So in this situation, I got under contract with one gentleman. We started the title search, and then we found out that all these brothers, sisters, and whomever else, and then if someone dies, of course, then their kids has rights to the property. So that's essentially what an heir is. People that have they have a right to that property, and since there was no will, we had to go through that process and go through probate, and just a freaking headache.
Okay, so 23 heirs. You started with one, and how did it unfold?
So this gentleman, he actually lived. The good thing was that he lived in, I think it was Pennsylvania, and he'd been gone away from the area for years. So one of the good things is that, so a lot of times when you're wholesaling or flipping, if you know your market, then you know what you can sell it for. So he wasn't aware of what that property could actually sell for because he doesn't live here, and so.
So give us some numbers. What was the ARV of this property?
So the ARV, so it wasn't a property, so it was property, but it was just dirt. So we wholesaled a lot is what we did. So that one was, I think it was 130, maybe less than that, maybe 100. I can tell you that we walked away with close to 150,000. But
you profited 150,000.
Yes, we profited 150,000 wholesale deal.
Oh so, my goodness!
So that's like unheard of. Actually, I should do doing a commercial deal, but like I said, downtown Raleigh, I'm thinking that property was like 100, 110 what we had on contract for, but I don't remember the exact numbers, but I remember that number.
And so, what did you end up selling it for?
So we sold that lot for $250,000.
Wow. So this is the one that persistence pays off, right?
Yep, exactly. So it was a little frustrating throughout the process because at one moment, 3 months in, we would think, hey, we're going to close because the attorney has everything straight. And then guess what? It's like popcorn. People pop up, right? So then we got to go through that process, and then he has to get people to sign. And so we just kept going through that process, and then they had to find people. You have some people that were trying to put a nice way, but sometimes they say, just say it. You got some people that were not the best of folks and maybe drunkards or whatever, people like that they had to find. They were hard to find, and then trying to get them to sign a contract and them not understanding exactly what it is.
And
so
who's chasing them down?
So actually the other gentleman that brought this deal to me was trying to find people. And then also the gentleman had a real estate agent that was actually helping him. So that was that they were doing this. And essentially for me, it was great because the only legwork I did was find a developer. That's it. And negotiate it.
Well, I remember you talking about this a few months back, and I think at the time you're only looking to make like I say only, but I was so blown away because you were at the time going to make $70,000 to $80,000 on a wholesale deal. So, by the way, so wholesalers, some people poo-poo them, shall we say, because they're just stealing all the money. But I bought a property recently from our friend Brett Beeman, and he wholesaled it to us for $30,000. He made $30,000 off the deal. Am I upset by that? No way, because when we sell it, we're going to make over six figures off this deal. So, bravo to you for seeing the value in it and then taking the time and doing it. Do you have any lessons for anyone about persistence and sticking to it, or what can you say to the audience about this deal?
Yeah, I think like you said, if you stick to it, then good things will come in the end. And just even I wasn't like the person that was constantly trying to find folks and badgering the agent, but the other gentleman that I had to deal with, I stayed in contact with him. So it's staying in contact, like you said, being persistent, staying in contact with your attorneys. If you're in title state, then title state. But it's just being persistent. I think one of the key things you just said, what a lot of people don't hear, is that I'm like you. I never count the wholesaler's money. Numbers are there, I don't care one bit.
Exactly.
So as long as my numbers are there, then it makes no difference to me. And so that's why this deal was so important to follow through, because I knew what we had it under contract for, and I knew we could sell it for. And so that's why I was so persistent, because I just wanted to close this deal. And I knew that if I built it myself, then it would still take me, 4, 5, 6 months. So I just wanted to get out of the deal in the quickest way possible. Well, once we sold it.
Yes. And bravo. Awesome, awesome job. So moral of the story here, how can people avoid this in a situation where maybe they own property and protect their heirs in the future? What are some protections they can put in place?
Yeah, so having that will is extremely important to have a will, because if you do, then you don't have to go through this process. And even if they would have had a will, I think they probably would have still run into some problems with trying to close it, because during the title search, they would have found. So, but the will is supposed to override it. So like I said, I don't know, but that's the main thing, is just having the will in place, having those protections in place. And then also just other things is having just power of attorneys, general power of attorneys, and medical, and so on and so on, because things happen.
Well, thank you. And I knew this was going to be a short explanation for this, but it was just gold. And I needed listeners to hear this crazy story, and thank you for sharing it. I've been trying to track you down. You've been a busy man, so I appreciate you sharing that with us. So the second half of the podcast is what makes Lionel Finley a badass, which we all know, and I use the acronym BADASS. And I am curious, the first letter is book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
So the Bible, and then I said I wasn't going to do this, but one of the other books that I read recently is Disloyal. So I really found that really interesting.
Say that one more time, because you froze.
Disloyal and the Bible.
Disloyal. So what is Disloyal about?
So that was written by Michael Cohen, and I guess so. That was enough said on that. So, but I just wanted to read it because I just wanted to get I wanted to know the inner workings of what was going on and all this stuff. So I just found it very interesting.
And you have a different perspective than many Americans, so I would be interested too. All right, the first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice. So, being that we're in this business, the best in this real estate business, the best advice that I can get: never ask for money. And people, they look at me crazy and say, "Well, how can you not ask for money?" I say, "I don't ask for money. I present an opportunity." because typically when you ask for advice, when you ask for money, you get advice, and and it's the opposite. So that's like my best. Don't ask. People, it will gravitate towards you. Trust me.
And folks, that's why he gets paid the big bucks as the coach, because that is awesome. I'm always telling students, go find money. But yes, you need to present opportunities. Very well said. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
Of course, my family, and then I will say my health, because, a lot of folks that see me, of course, I walk with I don't know what to call it, forearm crutch, whatever. So it's just, you never know when things are going to happen. So, always my family, and then to have things in place in case something happens to me for generational wealth. So that's the main thing that pushes me. Like I said, I'm getting ready to get really heavy into some more passive income. So that drives me, just making sure my family is set if I'm no longer here.
Right. And this just popped in my head. Another nugget that you taught me was when we created our general contracting company. You said, Jen, you should be the owner of it, because if you ever go into government contracts, they will choose a woman-owned business over the others. So thank you for that nugget. And Vance is the one with the GC license, but I'm the owner of the company. So
exactly.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Jordan is doing that right now, and she's getting some business.
Exactly. Yep. All right. The second A is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
So one of my goals right now is that I am trying to become a very, very good day trader in futures with stocks. So I'm doing that now, and it's I get my ass kicked a lot, but it will eventually, things will happen, because I literally this morning I made $275 in 5 seconds.
Wow.
So, and my son looked at me like I was crazy. So that's my main aspiration right now, is to just kill it with trading. And like I said, it's just one of my things now. I'm really, really heavy into that.
Are you doing any crypto? I hear it's the coolest thing to do.
So that is, yeah. So crypto is my next thing. So I'm with a group, and so we have a lot of crypto gurus in our group. And so, like, of course, everyone is like Bitcoin, but right now it's Cardano. That's like the next biggest thing that's probably going to pass Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm definitely getting into to the blockchain also.
All right. So our next thing, since we are following in every footstep that Lionel does, we're gonna have to jump in on this train as well. Yep. The first S in badass is systems. What are systems you have in place to help you achieve success?
So the main systems I have in place right now are none. I have wholesalers.
That is awesome.
So I have wholesalers right now that will bring me deals, and then I pretty much manage everything myself. And the reason why is because I don't do, like, there's some people I know that want to do 50, 60, 100 deals a year, and I less than 20, but those are high profit margin deals.
Right.
So that's my so I can typically, I don't need to have all these things and where I can track this, track that, even though I do it on my computer, but it's just me, and it's a one-man show. Well, two, because my wife, she owns the company, but it's just me. I just handle everything myself, and I don't have all these fancy systems. I used to, but that was just more work for me, and I just got rid of all that stuff.
That's awesome. All right. The final question and the last S in badass is success. What does success mean to Lionel Finley?
Success means sitting where I'm sitting right now on my AWSS and doing what I want to do and trading and making $15,000, $20,000 a day, right? Because that's what some of my mentors are doing. But that is success. But mainly, more importantly, is just being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And a lot of folks say that, but it's really, really true. It's that when you can just get up and say, hey, let's go to Jamaica, then to me, that is just, you've achieved something, because you don't need to sit there and monitor and manage and do all this stuff. You can just pick up and go as you want. So I would say I'm not quite there yet. I can pretty much, like last week, my wife, she was like, why do you need to go to the property? You work for yourself. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing SHIT this week. And I literally stayed home from Monday through Friday. and Saturday and Sunday we did whatever. So I just didn't do anything. So I would say I'm halfway there, but not really where I want to be yet, but I'll get there.
Well, you have always been an inspiration to me and to Vance, my husband, and we are so grateful to have you in our life, and I am honored to call you friend. So thank you for your time. I know your time is valuable. I just had to get you on here and explain that deal because that was an amazing wholesale deal. So thank you, Lionel. And absolutely. I heard you do the whoop whoop before, by the way. So thank you. That's the rain call. Whoop whoop.
I just want to clarify for people too, that was 150K, but it was split because the other gentleman split it. So that's where you remember the $70-some thousand.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, you are awesome. Thank you, Lionel. And thank you for listening today. We will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.